The whales are selling XRP. No, it's not really that serious. We are starting to see some pretty big wallets selling some XRP though. Most of this is on Binance. We do see here from Coin Bureau, XRP sell pressure alert. Despite ETF approval, whales 100K to 1 million and 1 million plus XRP wallets, not retail, are driving inflows. Large XRP transfers to Binance signal continued sell pressure. Now, if we're looking at this chart from Crypto Quant, we do see that most of the value bands coming into Binance, aka exchange inflows, are coming from wallets that have over 100K to 1 million XRP in them. This is a completely different view compared to, going back just a couple months ago where we were seeing a large amount of mainly smaller retail-based investors selling or buying XRP. So again, the whales are selling, but is it in the sense that everyone is trying to make this extremely negative? No, it's not a negative thing. We're starting to see that distribution happening while the price chart is either ranging or dropping. We will most likely see more inflows from these larger whale accounts, or just clips, if you will. So 100K to 1 million XRP. We'll start to see inflows into XRP and outflows from exchanges once the market starts to bounce back, because most of these players are trading XRP. I mean, if you're buying 100,000 XRP and you see a swing that's like 50 cents or even $1, I mean, that's a significant amount of profit. So most of these are just traders trading XRP. There's also a lot of bots on these exchanges too that buy and sell XRP every single hour, every single day. So, again, a lot of this could just be algorithmic trading. It could also just be larger traders trading XRP. I don't think that it's a major alert or anything like that. And it also just signals a lot more volatility around these price swings in the market anyways. Now, talking about that, addressing ETFs. So with the ETFs, we're starting to see a lot of big updates happening around ETFs, specifically outflows from Bitcoin and even Ethereum-based ETFs. We have over here from Nathan on crypto, Bitcoin spot ETFs saw a total net outflow of $161 million yesterday, with only BlackRock IBIT experiencing a net inflow. And yeah, I mean, listen, most of these ETFs around Bitcoin and even Ethereum have been net negative. We've been seeing so many outflows over the last couple weeks. And, during this time, we've been noticing something very interesting happen. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But we also have over here from the Dusty BC breaking, Ethereum spot ETFs recorded a net outflow of $96.6 million on December 18th. BlackRock clients sold $102 million worth of Ethereum. And yeah, we've been starting to see a lot of sell pressure from these ETFs. And a lot of people are looking at this in a sense of we're starting to see rotations. Now, you might be questioning, all right, well, what are they rotating into? Is it XRP? Well, it definitely could be, considering the fact that if we go over here, we have ETF flows. Solana and XRP spot ETFs saw net inflows on December 18th, while Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs saw net outflows. And yes, this has been happening for weeks on end. Bitcoin, negative $161.3 million, Ethereum, negative $96.6 million. Solana saw an inflow of $13.2 million. However, XRP saw an inflow of over $30.4 million. XRP ETFs have been doing extremely well. And I think that this is something to look into because, again, right now, the market is absolutely horrible. I mean, nobody really cares about crypto. Nobody's talking about crypto in a positive way. Engagement is down across the board. And I think that this is something to put a spotlight on, because during this time, we have over here from Chad, in 1 week, 21 shares talks is nearly at $250 million worth of XRP in assets under management. They took second place as the largest XRP fund behind Canary XRPC. And by the way, I remember when 21 Shares launched this fund, it really wasn't that successful. It was seeded with $100 million, but it quickly rose. And now it's in the number 2 spot right behind Canary's XRPC. But this is crazy to see. I mean, the inflows into the XRP ETF products have been very, very interesting to watch, because it's impressive that these are still seeing over 30 plus days of inflows at a time where the market is this bad. Crypto exchanges are not safe. It does not matter the size of the exchange either. Bybit, the fourth largest crypto exchange by trading volume, recorded one of the largest crypto hacks in history back in February, where $1.4 billion was stolen. And if we're looking at some of the top 10 crypto hacks in history, most of these are resulting from major exchanges. So where do we store our crypto outside of cold storage devices? Well, iTrust Capital offers premium custody accounts, which is one of the safest places to store your crypto because these are fully closed loop systems, which are designed to isolate and protect assets. And the best part about this is that if you are holding digital assets on their platform, they can only be withdrawn in USD linked to a US bank account, which means no external wallet connections can happen, which reduces the exposure to phishing or unauthorized transfers. So if you guys do want to tap into one of the safest places to lock up your crypto, you could sign up utilizing my link down in the description below right now, where you deposit $1,000 and you get a free $100 funding bonus today. And it goes to show you the demand around XRP. I've always said that XRP is in a completely different category as a digital asset because although, yes, everyone is still looking at XRP as just another crypto project, institutional players are looking at it in a completely different light. And it goes back to even Tukrim, right? Tukrim's CEO, when they were initially looking into launching an XRP ETF, they were asked about why are they so interested in XRP? And they even said, listen, this is a completely different digital asset. It's a digital asset that has real world value tied back to it. And the utility application to it as well is extremely valuable. It's extremely significant and it's different compared to all of these other types of projects in this space. And, you know, I've even said that when it goes back to the whole Bitcoin claim, right? I've always said for years that Bitcoin doesn't really have any utility. We've been sold on this dream that Bitcoin has all this utility, that, you know, it's the one, you need to, you know, hold Bitcoin, you need to buy Bitcoin. No, you really don't. I mean, listen, Bitcoin, I hate this idea of Bitcoin being like the chosen one, or, oh, it was the first crypto project, so that means that it's going to be the only successful one. No. Listen, over the years, we've started to witness a shift from Bitcoin into other assets, and XRP, you know, being this, you know, I would argue the only asset outside of Bitcoin to, you know, have the longevity that it has, and also the clear confirmation that it's here to stay. Unlike any other project in the space, XRP is so different in the application theory because XRP has so much utility, more than almost any other project in this space. And I think that that's where everyone gets kind of confused on why XRP has been around for so long, why XRP is so sought after by these big institutional players. It's because of the application theory. Now, talking about that, let's go over here real quick because we did recently hear from Matt Hougan from Bitwise. Big shout out to Zafe Crypto for this. We have Matt Hougan. XRP has been far better received than Ethereum was. 1 billion inflows in a down market. That's not normal. That's exceptional demand. XRP isn't waiting its turn. It's taking it. Check this out.
XRP has been much better received than Ethereum was, which is the interesting thing. The Ethereum ETFs sort of quietly moved out of the gate for a period of time, and then found traction, you know, maybe a year in. To see $1 billion in a down market is really exceptional. If this were a strong crypto market, that number would be significantly higher. So what I think it speaks to, again, is this simple story that is already understood by a relatively large number of people who were conditioned and ready for it. And it suggests, I think, there will be long and ongoing demand. I don't know what Steve would add to that.
Long ongoing demand. And yeah, he even said in a up market where the market is very positive, yeah, these inflows would be a lot more significant. And I do agree. I think right now, the main reason why we're seeing so many inflows into XRP products is simply because it's smart money. I think smart money is looking at this and saying, all right, well, we're in a down market. The market is going to return. And when it returns, these ETFs are also going to give us a ton of profits. Now, we'll most likely see outflows. I want everyone to understand that, yes, there's going to be a day where we will see the inflow streak die and we will see an outflow day. It's going to be smart money taking profits. It's not a bad thing. It's normal. But I want you guys to understand that it feels as if smart money right now is positioning into these ETF products. They know that the market's going to bounce back. They are aware of that, and that's why they're buying in mass. We have over here from Chad Steingraber as well, closed another $60 million day. Awesome. Yeah, the ETF products have been recording massive amounts of volume over the last couple days, hitting $60+ million. We have here from XP Market, XRP spot ETFs closing off the trading day with 60.45 million in volume. Top spot XRP ETFs for the day, XRP $16.8 million, GXRP $13.7 million, XRPZ over $12+ million. This week, XRP ETFs saw a significant gain in volume. You can track XRP ETFs now on their platform. And the craziest part about this is like retail demand is not, I don't think that this is retail demand. I say that because I don't think that retail is here in a big way. I honestly think and I believe that this is big money positioning. Why do I say that? It's because of the retail engagement here. XRP peaked back in November into December of 2024. Since then, retail interest has been plummeting. It's now back to the lows. It's actually below the lows of, the March and April of 2021 high. So again, retail does not care about XRP right now. Anyone that's focused on XRP, anyone that's looking into XRP right now is extremely smart and they are aware of how valuable this is going to be. But this is telling me that there's not a significant amount of retail looking into the XRP ETF products. Even if we're looking at crypto, again, engagement is down massively. And then also in terms of XRP ETF, this has plummeted since going all the way back to roughly like the end of November. We're still seeing 60 million. Who's accumulating these ETF products? Even if we're looking at the last year, again, just looking at this, we're absolutely flat. We've been flat since going back to roughly like the beginning of the month, end of November. And we're now still seeing 60 million plus inflows. I even said that, this is 100% true. Engagement across the board is absolutely rinsed. Retail has essentially given up, or at least majority of retail. Because again, engagement is absolutely low. It's worse than the bear market lows. So the question is, how and why are we seeing so much demand for these ETF products? Who's buying them? I don't think that it's retail. We have over here, again, we finished the day off at almost $100 million worth of volume on Friday's close. This was one of the largest weeks for the ETFs for XRP. I mean, if we're looking at just spot based, okay, we're seeing well over almost $200+ million this week alone, this past week. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. That's comparable to, all of the hype back in November. Again, back in November, yeah, we were seeing retail looking into the XRP ETFs in a big way. But now it's completely flat. Who's buying these ETF products? And even if we're looking at the ETF tracker, and this is fully up to date, I'll even refresh it. We have the daily volumes, Bitwise coming in hot on Friday. They were the top one here. Grayscale the second. Looking into the XRP locked in ETF vaults, 21 shares is now second on this list. Canary is number one. They are still leading. There's 700 million XRP locked in these ETFs, 0.7% of the total supply. Again, we're still very early on this. I've been seeing a lot of people saying like, oh, we're going to see a supply shock in Q1 of 2026. No, it's not going to happen. We're still, we're like almost, it's over a month. It's a little over a month. If we continue to see this happen, we could definitely see about roughly like almost 7. I'll put it this way. End of the first year for ETFs. If demand continues like this, maybe even demand starts to surge in a much larger way, right? Again, in an upward market, demand should surge. If we're going to account for that, if we're going to look into all of this, my best guess by the end of 2026, we could see the total supply of XRP locked in ETFs sitting around 10 to 15%. If that is the case, that's going to be massive for XRP's supply shock theory. And if you guys did watch my video where I was looking into this and I was even asking AI about it, you know, the time frame that we had there was about like 6 to 12 months, possibly 12 to 18 months. Now, I was a little bit more conservative saying 12 to 18 months. I think that that's right on par. Because again, by the end of the year, if we see 10 to 15% locked in supply, add another 6 months to that, we could see an additional 5 to 10%. You're talking almost a quarter of the total supply. Again, this is the total supply. This isn't even the circulating supply. We could definitely see a supply shock within that 12 to 18 month period, or 12 to, yeah, it's like 12 to 18 months, I would say. I don't want to be in that, you know, position where I'm saying like 6 to 12 months, because I just don't see it happening. Obviously we'll circulate back to, you know, this by the end of 2026, but you know, 12 to 18 months, I think is a pretty fair assessment on, you know, a supply shock happening for XRP. But we'll have to watch, wait and see. I mean, it's crazy to see how much demand there is for these ETF products for XRP in a downward market. And I also think that it's comparable when you look at how many outflows there are for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Is it people repositioning from Bitcoin and Ethereum into XRP? It definitely could be. It could be smart money rotating. But I would argue that this is mostly, you know, institutional clients that are buying these ETF products, just going off of retail trends. I mean, retail is just not here. They don't care. So somebody is positioning in a big way. And I would argue that it's big money. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.